The heavy oak doors of the downtown courthouse creaked open as Marcus Kane stepped inside. The morning sun cast long shadows across the marble floor, where dozens of people waited for their cases to be called. Marcus wore a simple gray hoodie and worn jeans, looking like any other citizen seeking justice. His weathered baseball cap pulled low over his eyes concealed his true identity. He found a seat in the back row of courtroom 7, blending seamlessly with the crowd. Today was crucial. Officers Brad Mills and Tony Ross sat at the defendant's table, their lawyers whispering urgent strategies. These two had terrorized the community for years, planting evidence, taking bribes, and targeting innocent families. Marcus pulled out a small notebook, pretending to jot down random thoughts. In reality, he was documenting every detail of their behavior, every smirk, every dismissive gesture toward the victims' families. The federal investigation had been months in the making, and today would provide the final pieces of evidence needed to bring down the entire corrupt network that had poisoned this city's police force. During the lunch break, Marcus walked toward the restroom when Brad Mills spotted him in the hallway. "Hey, look what we got here," Brad called out loudly, his voice echoing off the walls. Another one of those troublemakers trying to cause problems for honest cops. Tony Ross joined his partner, both men towering over Marcus with sneering grins. "You don't belong in here, Bo," Tony spat, using the degrading term deliberately. "Why don't you go back to where you came from before we make you regret showing your face around here?" A small crowd gathered as the officers continued their harassment. "People like you are what's wrong with this city," Brad continued, his voice dripping with contempt. "Always crying about police brutality when you're probably criminals yourselves." Security guards Sam Davis and Mike Turner approached, but instead of stopping the harassment, they joined in. "This guy bothering you, officers?" Sam asked with a cruel smile. "Maybe he needs an escort out of the building." Marcus remained calm, his hand discreetly activating the recording device in his pocket. Every word, every threat was being captured. He knew this moment would soon become evidence in a much larger case that would shake the entire department to its core. The harassment continued for several more minutes until Marcus decided it was time. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out his official FBI director badge, holding it high for everyone to see. The golden shield gleamed under the courthouse fluorescent lights. "Gentlemen, I am Marcus Kane, Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation," he announced in a clear, authoritative voice that carried down the hallway. "And you have just provided me with exactly the evidence I needed." The color drained from Brad Mills' face as he stumbled backward. Tony Ross's mouth fell open in shock, his hands trembling as the reality hit him. The security guards froze in place, their earlier confidence completely shattered. For the past 6 months, the FBI has been conducting Operation Clean Sweep, investigating corruption within this police department, Marcus continued. "Your actions today, along with the mountain of evidence we have already collected, will ensure that justice is finally served." At that exact moment, the courthouse doors burst open and a team of reporters led by Lisa Chen from Channel 7 News rushed in with cameras rolling. This had all been carefully planned. The media needed to witness this moment, to show the community that accountability was real. "Director Kane," Lisa called out. "Can you confirm that federal charges are being filed today against multiple officers in this department?" Marcus nodded solemnly. "The investigation into systemic racism and corruption ends today. No one is above the law." Within minutes, a team of federal agents appeared in the hallway, moving with precision and purpose. Agent Sarah Lopez stepped forward with handcuffs ready. "Brad Mills and Tony Ross, you are under arrest for civil rights violations, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice," she announced firmly. The two officers were handcuffed as shocked onlookers watched in silence. Security guards Sam Davis and Mike Turner were also taken into custody for their role in the harassment and cover-up activities, Marcus turned to face the cameras directly. Today marks the end of a culture of fear and intimidation that has plagued this community for too long, he declared. Systemic racism will not be tolerated in any form, especially among those sworn to protect and serve. Outside the courthouse, word had spread quickly through social media and local news alerts. Hundreds of community members gathered on the steps, cheering and celebrating. Families who had suffered under the corrupt system finally saw hope. Children held signs reading "Justice for All" while their parents wept tears of relief. The sound of applause and celebration echoed through the streets as justice was finally being served. As the crowd began to disperse, Marcus stood quietly on the courthouse steps, watching families embrace each other with newfound hope. This victory was more than just arrests. It represented a turning point for a community that had endured years of injustice and fear. Marcus pulled out his phone and called his deputy director. "Operation Clean Sweep is complete," he said with satisfaction. "But this is just the beginning. We have 12 more cities on our list where similar investigations need to launch immediately." He looked back at the courthouse one final time, remembering the harassment he had endured just hours earlier. Those officers had no idea they were attacking the very person who would bring them to justice. Their arrogance and racism had become their downfall. Marcus Kane walked toward his car, knowing that real change takes time, but today proved that no one is truly untouchable. The fight for justice would continue, and he would be leading that charge until every corrupt officer faced the consequences of their actions.